Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and a very good morning to all. Welcome to the 4th International Conference on Learning and Development, Iclad 2020. My name is Sharul and I shall be the host for our session here in Iclad Theatre. Today is Tuesday, 10th November 2020, being the second day of the 5-day long conference brought to you by TNB Integrated Learning Solution ILSAS and sponsored by Tenaga Nasional Berhad. In the wake of the new normal brought about by COVID-19 pandemic and the need to break the chain of transmission of this virus, Iclad 2020 goes virtual using 3D imagery and VR technologies for the first time ever. This year, the conference theme is Intelligence, the Art of Learning. I would like to welcome all of the participants who are joining us, be it Warga TNB or our fellow friends from Malaysia, as well as international participants. I was made to understand that Iclad 2020 has attracted the participation from fellow Papua friends across the ASEAN region. The objectives of the Iclad 2020 are to equip participants with the relevant knowledge and chance to listen to different points of view and learn new ideas and trends in people development and self-motivation from other organizations. Iclad 2020 also wants to play a role in providing participants with the necessary skills that can be used to compete in the modern labor market trends. Besides, we want to support the world agenda in the development of social and economic capital. Well, taking off for today, we are about to hear a keynote speech on culture. Our honorable speaker today is a very well-known guru of culture transformation. He is none other than Dr. H.C. Ari Ginanjar Agustian from ACT Consulting, or fondly known as Pak Ari. I am so happy and glad to meet Pak Ari today. We have heard so much about him in the arena of culture transformation and change management. Allow me to share some interesting information about Pak Ari. He is a 4-in-1 figure. He's a motivator, author, executor, as well as educator. Many of us may have known him through the organization ESQ Group, which he founded alongside with many other companies based in Indonesia. Besides being a Gallup certified coach, Pak Ari also is an ESQ trainer and has been acknowledged and received so many prestigious awards, such as the most powerful people and role model for change, inspirational and integrity by various bodies in Indonesia from 2004 until now. I think everyone is excited to listen to the keynote speech by Pak Ari entitled The Art of Culture Transformation. Before Pak Ari begins, I would like to invite all of you to post your questions and comments in what we call as pigeonhole. The link is appearing on your screen. Imagine you are sending a message on a paper tied to a pigeon in that pigeonhole. What an ancient way of communicating, right? But now it was made easy by the use of technology. Alright, if everyone is ready, let us pay our attention to our keynote speaker today, Pak Ari.
Respectable the Secretariat of Organizing Committee of this great seminar, Iclad 2020, respectable of Management of Tenaga Nasional Berhad TNB Malaysia, and respectable the Management of ILSAS Integrated Learning Solution TNB Malaysia, and all dear distinguished participants of Iclad 2020. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a happy good morning to you all. It's a great pleasure and honor at the same time for me to be with you in this great conference. I appreciate the opportunity given to me and ACT Consulting International to share this keynote speech of this conference. I pray and hope it will come with many benefits for you and your organization in all your effort in spreading goodness through your products and services. Welcome to disruptive era. This is what's happening now. The technology became very disruptive. When many businesses collapse and close down, but many businesses arise and grew even bigger. For instance, Uber, one of the biggest transportation company without having cars or vehicle. Facebook, the most popular media company in the world, but with no content of their own. Alibaba Group, one of the world's biggest retailer without having inventory. Airbnb, the biggest lodging and accommodation company, but the properties belong to someone else, not them. So, welcome to Fuka Era. This is the era that we are facing new all over the world. The impact every aspect of our business, culture, even our life, and that cannot be avoided. As you know, Fuka stands for V, volatility. We live in the world that's constantly changing, becoming more unstable each day, where change big and small are becoming more unpredictable and happening faster and faster. As even happened in the completely unexpected ways, it's become impossible to determine cause and effect. U for uncertainty. It's become more difficult to anticipate, even to predict how they will happen. Past success do not guarantee today success. It's become harder to plan for development and growth as it becomes increasingly uncertain. Complexity. Our modern is more complex than ever. What are the reasons? What are the effects? Problems are harder to understand. A for ambiguity. Ambiguity means a lack of clarity about how to interpret something. A situation is ambiguous. For example, when information is incomplete and contradicting to draw a clear conclusion. Facts are often mixed with rumors, and it's all difficult to differentiate between truth and fake news. The situation is worsened by COVID-19 pandemic. Is pulling the trigger and affect your life. The question is, how are we facing this? Our human capital, culture, and strategy ready to face this? Many leaders believe that the most important asset in facing is human capital. Have you heard there was a big earthquake in 1923? All the building destroyed. But there is one building is standing there. That was Imperial Palace Hotel. And people want to know why. And they try to research, and the answer is the foundation is very strong and very deep. This is just the way how I try to introduce to you. How about in building companies? The same. We should have a strong foundation below our building. We cannot see, but exist. Now let's see what happened. Standard & Poor's research, there are 500,000 companies in 50 years. Only 10% exist, and the rest is bankrupt or maybe sold down. There is an interesting book, The Living Company by Ari de Geus. There are some companies can exist for 100 years. For instance, GE and also Shell. And why they can survive? The answer is only two: core values and core purpose. And also the same conclusion if you find the book written by Jim Collins. Why? There are some companies very strong. In Fortune 500, only few companies become very great. The conclusion is the same. They are talking about core values and core purpose. That is the DNA of corporate culture. Now let's see Japan. For instance, Toyota, Mitsubishi, Honda, Matsushita, Suzuki, and so on. You remember when there's an economic crisis in the world, some of American car companies being sold. But Japanese companies, especially for the transportation industry, they still exist. The answer is corporate culture. But what is the DNA of the corporate culture? So we have to see the history of Japan that wrote by samurai. So if we talk about the corporate culture in Japan, we talk about the history in Japan. If we talk a history in Japan, we talk about the ruler in Japan, is samurai. There are some Bushido principles. For instance, Ji for integrity, U for courage, Jin, compassion, love each other, Rei for polite, Makoto for sincerity, and Meyo for honor, and Chungi for loyalty. For instance, in my country, some of companies interested in Kaizen, and they try to create the system based on the Kaizen, but they fail. Why? They just do the system, but forget the culture. Remember, 70% of transformation fail. Why? They forget the culture. Now, gentlemen, let's see Korea. What happened? Can you imagine? In 1943, their income per capita was only 63 USD. But now, it's 35,000 USD. Also the same, there are two things: core values and core purpose. You still remember how Park Chung-hee always said, "Urinara, for the sake of my country." Everybody, when they're doing production in the factory, engineering, anything they do, they always say, "Urinara." It means, for the sake of my country. And they always remember those three core values: diligence, self-help, and cooperation. Okay, now you remember Saimal Undong, how they changed the country from the village? Three focus. First, economy. Number two, environment. Number three, character. Percentage: economy 25%, environment 25%, but culture 50%. Okay, now we are in Fuka Era. We are in disruptive era. We are in the tornadoes of change. Imagine if you are in the boat in the middle of storm. What do you need? First, compass. Why? Because we cannot see 5 to 10 meters, we only see 1 meters. But what you know is compass showing you the direction, the true north. And number two, you have to push the engine, cannot stop. And number three, maybe it is exactly right, but you need also an anchor. My intention is, I want to tell you, to show you that we need a compass and also we need an anchor. So, for instance, by having the compass, we know the north. By having the values, how we go to the north. This is very important because by having those two kinds, core purpose and core value, is code of conduct when you organize the company, when you lead, when you manage the talent, and also how you interact to the people. For instance, if you go to the Japan, that you will see the people so polite because that core values of Japan is Rei. And also, they're very loyal because the core values is Chunggi. And they are very honest because the core values of Ji. This is more than system, but it is something in their heart. This is why called core values. Have you heard Yukio Hatoyama? He was a prime minister of Japan in 2010. He said the first time when he became a prime minister, he said, I will move Okinawa military base of USA. If I fail in 3 months, I will resign. And what happened? Okinawa military base of America still there, and he resigned. That is called core values. Have you heard Seiji Maehara? He was a foreign minister of Japan in 2011. What happened? He accepted only 3,000 US dollar. And then he said, I resign. That is core values of Japan. How about us? And now let's talk about business in general. It's like a coin with 2 sides. First side about structure transformation, another side about culture. But commonly, when we are talking about business, we merely sometimes only focusing about strategy, structure, and system. But we forget that 70% of success is based on corporate culture. We are talking about belief, values, and behavior. Maybe you remember what Peter Drucker said about business. Peter Drucker said, if you are talking about business and management, you are talking about human behavior and human institution. I think based on this, I want to show you this graph. It's easy for you to understand. On the top of your head is your mission, the reason why you create your business. And then the vision, the direction, where do you want to go, but also the goals that you have to achieve. Now, I don't want to focus about the left side, about the structure, strategy, and system, but I'd like to focusing about how to create the strong corporate culture. As you know, I told you before that company who can survive for 100 years actually on the right side of the business. What's that? Corporate culture. So now as a leader, you are stand in the middle. Imagine you are a driver on the left side, you are holding a system. On the right side, you are holding the culture. On the top of your head, you are talking about mission and vision. And below there, about the execution and also your performance. Okay, I'd like to show you what John Kotter said in the book Heart of Change. He said, 70% of transformation fail because they are only focusing on head. They forget about the heart. Okay, now how to create the strong corporate culture? Actually, only 3 things that can create the corporate culture. First, the values. 2, the system. And 3, the leadership. The values, 25%, system, 35%, and leadership, 40%. Which one do you want to choose? If you see how Western people create the culture, they base on the system. But what happened? You remember when Katrina storm coming to America? What happened? There was no laws. And there was a riot. But what happened if compared to Japan when there was Fukushima tsunami? No riots. Even the price still stable. I heard one of my friends told me when they go to the camp of a refugee and they want to share the food to one tent, to another tent, but they come here and then the refugee said, no, I'm enough, give it to them. And go to another tent, and also inside that tent we are enough. Give it to them. Then nobody want to accept, even though they are still in problem. That is core values. And also, at the same time, when earthquake in Fukushima, there was a restaurant that a lot of people having lunch there. When there was earthquake, the people running away, and also the owner waiting. What happened? They haven't paid yet. But the day by tomorrow, they're coming one by one, and they pay the amount exactly right what they eat. That is core values called G. Now, what I want you to know, so if you use Japanese style, you are using the core values as the inside of your heart. In Japan called kokoro. But if you are using the Western style, how to build a corporate culture, you are using system, and system called tatame. So those combinations create the very strong culture in Japan. And also leadership is 40%. Then I've told you how they show the culture, and by do the resignation when they make a mistake in harming the culture. Okay, now I'd like to show you the 10 steps how to create the strong culture. First of all, big why. That's the one step. Because this is very important to create the mindset. But not all the leaders ready the importance of the culture. That's the first step. And number 2 is personal transformation. Remember, corporate doesn't change, but people do. Sometimes we are talking about corporate culture, but actually the most important thing about personal culture of every single person in your company. And number 3, you should understand the gap. But how? Without measurement, you cannot manage if you cannot measure. If you are talking about culture, can you measure? It's the key that should be a measurement of the culture. And number 4, based on the gap, then you create the direction. Yeah. So you based on the gap culture, then you set the direction. And number 5, you create the strong team to read the gap and execute the direction. And number 6, execute the action. Number 7, this is very important, campaign the journey. Every single day, every single week. Yeah, don't be tired, because you should talk over and over, even the 1-2 years, over and over about the culture. Number 8, evaluate the progress. Okay, after 6 months, then we evaluate. Then you can see the picture. For instance, if you have, let's say, integrity, what about this department, marketing department, and then sales department? And what about, let's say, teamwork, how strong they are, how they do it? Then we can see that. Then that's the evaluation. But of course, we cannot just talk like that without a picture of your culture. Okay, number 9, this is very important, having fun. What's that? Celebrate. Give the appreciation to the champion who showed the performance in doing the culture. And of course, the last, you should review your system. Does your system fix and align with your culture? Evaluate it. And then, next year, do the same thing and another 10 steps. Okay, I'd like to show you snap picture about how we describe the culture. The values are divided into 6 areas. First one, sustainability. 2, relationship. And 3, performance. And 4, growth. And 5, common goals. And the highest one, meaning and purpose. Okay, I'd like to show you the reel of portrait of our client in Indonesia. So I always monitor the journey of the culture from 2015 until 2018. So if we see below, for instance, 2015, 2016 until 2018, there are the values journey. For instance, which one? Number one, number two, which one? Priority in 26. What about in 2017, and etc. Then we can see the journey. Integrity is number 4 and now become number 1. By using that, then we can read. But it is not only for that company, but also we can see also its department. Can you see? So everybody as a manager, director, they have to show performance, not only financial performance, but also corporate culture performance. And on the top, we are talking about the portrait of the culture. For instance, they're empty in meaning and purpose. It means the company doesn't have meaning and doesn't have purpose. So based on that, the agent of change, they have to focus how to create meaning and purpose. For instance, we teach them how to do coaching for meaning and purpose. And also below there, as you see, there's empty, no dot there. It means no fighting spirit. By knowing that, of course, we have to focus how to create the awareness about financial. By doing that, you know that when we are talking about corporate culture, it should be exact. We cannot only feel, but see the picture. So thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your undivided attention to Pak Ari just now. I would also like to thank Pak Ari for his insightful and such a powerful speech just now. I'm sure there's a question from the floor today. For those who wants to post your question, remember, please do so via our pigeonhole link. It's here or it's there at the bottom right corner of your screen. So for next, let us welcome once again Pak Ari for this Q&A slot. Is Pak Ari already here with us today? Okay, Assalamualaikum Pak Ari. Hi, Alhamdulillah. How are you today, sir?
A little bit cloudy here in Jakarta. We are in Menara 165. Everything look cloudy here.
I guess
it's rainy season now in Jakarta.
I guess it's the same here. It's already monsoon season in Kuala Lumpur, and we are expecting rainy days here. So I'm so happy to be able to talk and share this virtual stage with you today, Pak Ari.
Oh, yes, I'm too.
All right. Maybe while we are waiting for our participants to post their questions, I would like to ask you a question. Probably, maybe let me start the ball rolling. I would love to hear your opinion on how digital and technology can help us in facilitating culture change within an organization.
All right. So thank you so much for the question, Sahrul. How we combine the technology and also people situation now. I think we should understand that people wants always everything much easier, get closer, get cheaper. At the time when they are doing that, they have to find also how to create that kind of inner voice, inner values into action. While they are doing this, they need a technology. So technology actually is derived from itself. And then how to translate technology, there is an option. There is how. but how to create the technology happen that create a product and services. So I would like to tell you about 3 dimensions to understand that question. First, I'd like to tell you about the spirituality. Spiritually, spirituality is inner voice inside. For instance, in Japan, if they want to help people, they need tools. But how to create the tools? They have to think how to do it, and they learn about technology. But the problem here now, people always following the IQ, the intellectual intelligence. So they become the buyer of technology.
The user.
But in Japan, the user of technology. But actually, we should find the inner voice of technology. So we are not talking about what, we should talking about why. Once we found the why, then we know how to create the technology. Thank you.
Oh, interesting. I believe we have a question from the floor.
Right.
Allow me to read the question. Oh, too bad. This question is from somebody anonymous. It's a bit shy person, I guess. Assalamualaikum Pak Ari. Great talk. In your talk, you were talking about core value. Why now there are lack of core value on our today's leader? So, do you like to respond to this question, Pak Ari?
Okay, understand. So to understand this why lack of value, we should know the motivation of people first. Why they want to get a job, why they want to get business, why they want to do, let's say, a professional. Of course, they try to do it by becoming leaders or becoming a businessman or becoming a professional. I'd like to share to you about the 7 of motivation that motivate people and motivate leaders in achieving the goals. First, people want to have certainty. They need money, they need house, and then they want to buy a good cars and also saving and anything. After that, they want to have a challenge. For instance, you want to go to sport, you want to go to around the world, especially for millennial, for young generation. They focus on number 2. But me, maybe I'm 50 years old. I need certainty. So sometimes there's different values why people now looking for challenge. I think it's one of different motivation as well. But it's not enough. But people also want to be exist. So why they have a multimedia, they have a Ferrari and Lamborghini, the big building and anything. But also people want to have love and relationship, and also but grow. But now what happened now? If we compare what happened to the situation while as you know that Whitney Houston commit suicide. Have you heard
Yes.
that? And also Robin Williams having also commit suicide because their lack of meaning and purpose. They start the career from bottom to up, the bottom up. Actually, if we change our perception, our mindset, we start not from the bottom, but we start from the top. We start from grand why. We start from meaning. We start from the higher purpose. Then after that, we contribute. There will be a core values inside there. Values is not about the rules. Values is not about the regulation. Values is not about the company state. That is the values. Values is coming from deepest inside of our heart. That's core values. And you can find the values after you have the meaning and purpose. But if you have the no meaning, no purpose, and you don't have the grand why, you just do growth only for money. Love only for love, self-existence only for self-existence, certainty only for certainty, no meaning, no purpose, and no core values. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Ari. Such an insightful, I think, ESQ matrix. This is the first time I look at the ESQ matrix and very interested with that content. let us look for the next question from the floor. We have a question from, I hope it's a Miss Suci Purnamasari. Sounded like an Indonesian name. The question is, leadership is a big point to change the corporate culture. How to build a good leadership among the different character of person or leaders? I guess she is asking about what is the success factor in a leadership to drive the culture change within the company. Over to you, Pak Ari.
That's a very good question. Of course, yeah, for instance, if there is let's say a garden, we don't know with the soil is good for trees. For instance, good for different trees and flowers. It's like our brain as well. Maybe for instance, the people were very intellectual, some people very human, some people very strategic, some people very impulsive. Now we have different talent. We still understand the talent, but I'd like to tell you, even any talent that we have, I'd like to give you a big picture how to be a great leader, even though we have different talent. So I'd like to show you this one. If I'm showing this, I'd like to tell you how to be a great leader. First, the white one, that is internal understanding. That every leader has different DNA. For instance, my DNA that I always giving service. So I don't care if people pay me or not. But of course, it's different with someone else. My DNA is, let's say, I like to educate people. It means I am the people who like to teach, and maybe it's different with other people. That is internal understanding. And also inside the deeper inside of the internal understanding, the leaders should have compassion, even though we have different point of view, different DNA, and we have also the mission. If we have already the mission, we have already a compassion there, and then combine with internal understanding with different characteristic of every single leaders, then we can combine this, the core of leadership. For instance, if we talk about the leaders of let's say GE, Jack Welch, is the people very impulsive and hard workers, very analytic. But different with Jack Emails. Jack emails with a very soft, you know, a little bit feminine leadership. But Jack Welch is masculine leadership. That is internal understanding. But if we combine with the compassion and mission, that we know the reason how to become a leader. And also the compassion, it tells you, but leaders is not leadership anymore, but the fathership. And also, I'd like to tell you, after we get that one, I think you already know that we have to be a good role model, and then we know how to inspire people, and also we have to become innovative and also growth. Now this is the basic concept of leadership. But I'd like to tell you also, but any leader have a different DNA. Yeah. Sometimes we try to understand people, but by using our perception. But actually, every leader has the same. Has a different DNA. For instance, as I told you before about the Jack Welch on Jeff emails, that is different. Now, I'd like to tell you about what said by. Okay, this one. Okay. Albert Einstein said. Okay. Albert Einstein said, everybody is genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will its whole life believing that it's stupid. So I'd like to tell you that leader has different character, but we have to put in the same mission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Ari. Very nice quote by Albert Einstein there. Let's us move to the next question. This question comes from Mary. Assalamualaikum, Pak Ari. How to maintain a culture of integrity during the COVID-19 pandemic? Very in thing right now. So how do we maintain the culture of integrity during this pandemic days?
I think the answer is the same by using SQ matrix. If you understand the SQ matrix, when we have a pandemic today, the changing is only in certainty. The changing only in challenges. The changing is about relationship. For instance, for social distance and the certainty, the business already changed and the challenge already changed. But something that still remain. Once you have the grand why, once you have the meaning and purpose, you don't have to worry about the changing down there, because the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5, when pandemic coming now, it's all distract all of them. But once you have the grand why, once you have the meaning and purpose, that you have, you will be stable at any situation. If you have the meaning and purpose, if you have the grand why, you will have, let's say, this is called agility. Yeah, people agility, change agility, also learning agility, but also result agility. So the agility is based on what you focus. If you focus on uncertainty, you have low agility. If you focus on self-existence, and also very low agility, especially love relationship. But if you have the grand why, you have the meaning purpose, and your mission for contribution, you have a strong agility. That's what happened to Jack Ma. Yeah, because his mission is want to help the people in China, and also, for instance, for Zuckerberg, they want to contribute to united people in the world. That's the contribution. And also, for instance, for Google, yeah, Larry Page. At that time, if you read the history, they would just want to help his friend how to create the book, for instance.
Exactly.
And then they create a Google. So by using this SQ matrix, then you will know their mindset. They start from the top, but we start from the down. That is a difference.
All right. Thank you very much, Pak Ari. Allow me to read the next question. We have so many questions coming up and being voted by all the participants here. This one very interesting question by Fizo. What is the best way to develop core values throughout a big organization? I believe, do we need to talk to everybody, or do we need to only listen to the leaders? What do you think, Pak Ari?
There are 4 mistakes in creating corporate culture. Since we have been doing in 20 years and teaching character and also helping building culture transformation, there are some mistakes that's always happen. Yeah, I'll show you this picture. Okay. Okay, just a minute, because it's easier for you to understand if I can show you this picture. Okay, just a minute. I hope you understand what I'm telling to you, but if it's not too clear, you can ask me again.
Yeah, sure thing.
Conclude. Okay, there are 4 mistakes. Yeah, why people doesn't succeed to create the culture. First mistake, for holistic human dimension. Yeah, they are building behavior only through, for instance, human dimension. It means they are only teaching intellectuality without emotional intelligence and without spiritual intelligence. So while we are doing, for instance, culture, teaching them about the integrity, we are only telling them what integrity is, but no values inside and no beliefs. And that is what happened to Enron, WorldCom, yeah, and also what happened in subprime mortgage. They have already culture. They have already also the culture. For instance, like this, I'll show you. Okay, integrity, respect, patience, excellent. Yeah, that is also culture. Yeah, Arthur Anderson and bankrupt as well. Okay, now this is service, integrity, performance, inclusivity, bearings, and bankrupt. And then Enron declared bankrupt at 2001. Bearing declared bankrupt at 1995. And also Arthur Anderson, consultant, bankrupt 2002. And also what happened, America, they create the very strong law. It's called Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Yeah, Sarbanes-Oxley Act telling you if you're president commissioner, you have to responsible for last 10 years report. It happened, Sarbanes-Oxley Act in year of 2002. But 2008, subprime mortgage, what happened, and the economy in the world going down. What I want to tell you that it is not enough talking about system, talking about leadership without values and without belief. Yeah, that is why the human dimension, because at the moment, if we are talking about the culture, we are talking only about the system, but we forget the values, we forget the beliefs. That's the first mistake. And number two, the mistake, yeah, when we are teaching the culture, we try to push the culture from outside in. Actually, culture or inner values culture, it is not from outside, but actually from inside. If we find the inside, the heart, then we will understand the culture. Actually, as a prophet said, yeah, what does it tell? In seketul daging inside the human body, that is called the culture. Actually, we were talking about corporate culture. It already stated, but our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam 1,400 years ago. But when we claim it is culture and we talk about integrity, actually it is not outside in our body. It is not only stated on the wall, on the book, but it's stated in the heart. That is the second mistake. And the three mistake is we don't find the grand why of our mission of a company. As I told you before, we create the culture, but the people coming to a company, they are talking only about certainty, how much money you want to pay me. And then they're talking about my career, the growth. After 2 or 3 years, will I be a manager or director or CEO? But they have no meaning. See, that is the third mistake. And the fourth mistake is
personal transformation, I guess.
Yeah, start from personal transformation. We talk about how to change the company, and then we dream to change the organization. Actually, organization doesn't change, but people change. We start from personal, one by one changing, then we can change the company.
Thank you very much, Pak Ari. I hope we still have time for one more question.
Please.
This comes from Dean. I think when we talk about culture, Pak Ari, there are also two dimensions to it, two extremes to it, whether it's a positive culture or negative culture. This question asking about, is there any simple way for us to remove culture toxicity?
Sorry, once again, please.
Is there any simple way to remove a toxic culture?
Once again, I can hardly hear you.
Oh, sorry. Let me repeat it. Question from Dane. He's asking, is there any simple way to remove a toxic culture, a culture of toxicity?
Okay, I think I try to give you the easy way to remove the culture. Once again, before we try to define the toxic culture, we try to define who is the toxic culture. We should create the mapping. In the company, there is a people who become a toxic culture. If I find that kind of person, we do give them a coaching. That is called ESQ 3.0 coaching. I want to show you the dimension of toxic people. Okay, look at this. This is the 4 dimension of the person, the toxic people or everybody else. So if we try to see what happened to toxic people, the people focusing on the black circle, they don't find the spiritual intelligence. When we are talking the spiritual intelligence, we are talking about the why. We are talking about love. If we're talking about share, we're talking about compassion. But toxic people, they are focusing on the black area, black circle, the negativity. And also the blue one, the circle number 2, is emotional intelligence, is talking about orientation. What drives you working in this company? What push you working in the company? And then why they want to focus on that job. And the red one is performance they want to achieve. By using coaching, we try to change the orientation, the black one into the white one. But of course, I cannot tell you detail, but you need a skill of coaching in ASQ coaching. I think you should go to our our booth here because you still have a lot of questions. Please come to my booth here. They will tell you how to take care of the negativity, and also they will help you how to create the corporate culture, and also how to measure the toxic. Especially, I think you have a measurement how to measure the company. Come to my booth here. Then ACT Consulting, we have already opened ACT Consulting. In Indonesia, we help our government, GLC government. We change all of the core values and hundreds of corporate culture in GLC Indonesia. We change with Akhlak. This is my company help the minister to create and also to measure. And the last, I'd like to tell you the 10 step how to create the core values. I think we already told you this is the 10 step, but also I'd like to give you the measurement. I think the measurement is very important, because if we are talking about the culture, it means we want to manage. But once again, you cannot manage if you cannot measure. There is a measurement for the culture, for instance. I'll show you. This is the measurement of culture we create by our company, company, and we use it to measure all of the GLC Indonesia. Yeah. For instance, if you see the red one here, also that you can see what kind of corporate culture that are already focus, and also changing from year to year. Yeah. And also on the top one that you can see the ASQ matrix, we can measure them. For instance, on the top, there is there's no meaning, no purpose. Then we can see it means we intervene them, giving them meaning and purpose. And also we can see here. I don't know how can I tell you. I think it's better for you to come to my booth. They will tell you how to read this. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Pak Ari. Yes, I would like to invite everyone to visit ACT booth at our platform. I believe we have time for one more question, Pak Ari.
Please.
This question comes from Inastuti Ramadhani. The question is, after we measure employees' needs and solutions depend on their thoughts, we found the talent value among employees. So how we as human resource develop the intervention to organization?
Okay. I think first of all, we create a change agent. Yeah, change agent should read, they should understand how to read the report. What happened now, we create change agent, but they don't have a report. Can you imagine a doctor without the result of laboratory and they give the medicine, they will die.
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous. For instance, also, if we want to intervene the company, a corporate culture, first of all, we have to read the report first. And then after we find the report, we change with three kind of system. First, this is the report. First, leadership style. Yeah. Two, change the system. Three, internalize the leadership. They have to be a transformational leadership. And I want to show you the model, the transformational leadership. Just a minute. Yeah. Okay, this is the model of leaders. The change leader, they should know the mission on the top. The leader should know the vision, and the leader should know the goals. And then we change the structure, strategy, and system. But it is not enough. We have already, we should know also how to change the belief, the values, and behavior. So it means the leader, yeah, they should know how to change them with the 4I. First, they have to be a role model, idolize influence. Two, they have to be inspirational motivation, inspiring. They have to be intellectual stimulation, that is coaching. And the last one, they have to be the person who know how to individualize consideration. It means we cannot push someone if he has different type. For instance, we cannot push a fish to climb a tree. We should know the internal understanding. And then the insight is compassion and mission. But also the change agent should know the skill of coaching. By coaching, then we can handle the problem. The problem is we have already some change agent, but they have no skill in coaching. Coaching skill is very important. For instance, I'll show you the coaching model here. This is the coaching model, how to solve the problem after they become a coach as a change agent. First, we should find the inner drive every single company. For instance, millennial. We should try to find the inner drive. Every person, they have a drive inside, but they don't know how to find it. So the coach should understand they have an ability to help people to find the inner drive. This will be unstoppable, and also they will have a meaning and purpose if we can help our help the people to find that one. And then we have to determine also what is the limiting beliefs, that we have to solve the problem first. And also we continue how to create the strong orientation, not only orientation because of money, but also orientation change into the noble purpose. After that, we conclude those three intelligence: spiritual intelligence inside, and also emotional intelligence, the blue one. Then we change into action. When we change into action, the coach should know how to define the goals. The coach should know how to to create an option. And also they should know how to managing barriers, getting support and take action. By using this one, I think every managers, every change agent should know how to solve the problem with this kind of model. I think you should go to my booth to understand my model. Thank you.
So many things to learn at the booth of ACT. Well, I guess I would like to say thank you everyone for the questions. I'm afraid time is a constraint we have now as we are nearing the end of our session with Pak Ari. How we wish we have more time with you, Pak Ari. On behalf of the Organizing Secretariat of Iclad 2020, TNB Ilsas and Tenaga Nasional Berhad, I would like to express my utmost appreciation to Pak Ari for his wisdom and his time spent with us today. Terima kasih ya Pak Ari.
Terima kasih.
Alright. Also, to all of you who joined the session for the past 60 minutes, fired up with all the great questions and remarks, thank you. We in TNB also in the midst of a journey called Reimagining Culture, and we truly subscribe to the importance of both core values and core purpose to be in order for us to be a great company. If in Japan we heard the Bushido principles, and if in Korea we heard the battle cry of Urinara, here in TNB we believe in better, brighter. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned to Iclad 2020, where right after this we'll be going for break and we'll resume at 2:30 p.m. for a session on design thinking happening at the Guru Room. Following that, don't miss our coffee and talk segment with the Chief Executive of HRDF, and this will be held at the Cendekia Cafe. Tomorrow onwards, there will be many more interesting sessions listed in the agenda. Please join the parallel sessions in the morning. Later tomorrow, we shall hear another great speaker on the storytelling. And in the afternoon, you don't want to miss that slot for coffee, talk and sing with a celebrity speaker. I guess tomorrow there will be time for for us to practice the tune. Alright, that's all the time we have this morning. Signing off, please accept our sincere apologies for any inconveniences and shortcomings. We would love to hear your feedback. Please send those through the link provided as we want to improve so that the next event will be much better. You have been such a great crowd today. My name is Sharul. Wishing you a great day ahead and happy learning. Goodbye.